Hey there, Christy Daniels here. Before you trust me with your heart, I thought that you should know mine. I believe that life can be a traumatic event, and it can be filled with joy and sorrow. And the things that we do to get through the hard parts end up creating the framework of safety that we construct for ourselves in terms of what we allow ourselves to experience and what's okay and what is not. And we end up creating a box for ourselves to live within based on everything that we've experienced. And my box was constructed early on. I have glimpses of some of the things that I experienced. I remember being really little. I don't even know how old I was when I was, but I remember teaching myself to draw. I could see that my father could draw, and I loved that. And so I would take the coloring book that had Cinderella's head on it, and I would put my paper on top of it, and I would see the lines through, and I would draw the lines so that it would look just like the lines that were pulling together to create Cinderella's head. And so I would do this, and I would do it over and over and over again until I knew where the lines were to be drawn. And without putting my paper on top of the coloring book of that picture, I could actually draw Cinderella's head. And I loved that. And I ended up, it worked for me. That strategy worked for me. I got feedback, I got praise, and I ended up taking that same strategy out into the rest of the world. I would look at JCPenney's and Sears catalogs and look at what's available and kind of construct what I would imagine my life to be like based on what was available, the available materials. I would look outside of me and see how people acted. I would look at little friends and the ones that my parents loved. I would say, oh, how is she so loved by my parents? I wonder if I can incorporate some of that into me. And so bit by bit, I constructed myself in the images based on the things I saw, the available inspiration and materials I saw around me. I didn't feel as if it was safe enough for me to be who I was. And so I was going to become someone who could be loved, who could be appreciated, who could earn the right to be valued and be worthy. Needless to say, that didn't last for more than a few decades. And I would look around as an adult, unhappy with my life, and look at other people and try to attempt to do the same thing. I remember living in Eureka Springs, and as a single parent, it was really challenging. That time of my life was just incredibly hard, like in ways that just can't even get into here. And I saw other single parents, but they seemed to have a much easier time. So I would look, and I even mustered up the courage to ask one of them, how is it that you can do this and it can be so graceful? What's your secret? And I just got like a knowing nod and you'll figure it out. You're doing good. You'll figure it out. And while I appreciated the confidence that they might have had in me, it wasn't helpful. I didn't find any help in assurances that I was going to figure it out. And it took me 15 more years to kind of figure it out on my own. And it really wasn't on my own. It's been with the help of other people. But I swore that if I ever could find what the secret was, that I would share it, and I would make sure that it was available to more people than just me, and I would make sure that other women didn't have to really struggle in life to figure this out. It just felt like something everybody needed to know. And saving other people from that stress and that struggle, the strain and the discomfort that comes from that, being able to reveal the path so that they can come into their own, they can embody their own brilliance, their own, and kind of create their own path. That's really what motivates me to do this work, to free women like I've been able to free myself and continue to be able to free myself from these prescribed or adopted boxes that we've crafted for ourselves, and be able to liberate us, to be able to get into a sense of potential of what's available to us beyond the coloring book that I thought could show me exactly where to put my lines, exactly what to do, beyond the catalog that showed me what was available, beyond mimicking the people around me. And what I found was that the secret to unlock all of this was actually inside of me all along. I had just buried it. I had just covered it up. I had just prevented it from being seen. I had prevented me from being seen, even by myself. And so that's the work that I do with my clients, is to pull back the layers, to really be able to get them in touch with who they really are, beyond the conditioning, beyond the expectations, beyond the prescribed available options. I help them reconnect with who they really are, be able to come home to who they are, be able to feel at home in their own skin, to cultivate self-acceptance whenever they're looking at whatever it is that's perceptively good or perceptively bad, and be able to be okay with all of it, to be able to accept ourselves despite the shit that's showing up, and despite the self-doubt, and to really find a home within ourselves, to really find value, acceptance, worth, that we sought outside of ourselves, to be able to find that in our own skin, and to be able to first and foremost give that to ourselves. That is what my work is about, and my belief is that by women coming back in touch and in tune with their authenticity, who they really, really are, and by sharing that with the world, being able to be unshakable in who they are, that this is going to create a shift and a tipping point. It will create more confidence for the women that I work with to step out bolder and into a dream, into an existence that only they can imagine. It's not available, it's not on the list of options. It's something that is delivered within their heart of hearts, and only they can realize it, only they can see it, only they can share it and bring it to fruition in the world. And I want to create a more compassionate and loving world for everyone, where we're all accepted for whoever we are, as we are, because I believe there's beauty and divinity in that. So that's what I'm about, and I'm holding my hands up here to try to stabilize this as I record, and my arms are getting really heavy. So I'm going to go now, but I really appreciate you listening to this, and I hope that you get a glimpse into my heart, into the compassion that motivates me to do the work that I do. And I would be so honored to have a conversation with you to explore where you are now, where it is you envision yourself and imagine yourself to be, what is showing up in the way between where you are now and where you want to be, and what I might be able to do to help you get there. All right, so I'm going to put a link below, and onward and upward.